The Electronic Frontier Foundation is an organization that exists and has existed since 1990 to try to assure to humanity the right to know. I mean, which is a right that hasn't been previously promulgated because it was an impossibility. But our dream is that anybody anywhere may have access to anything that human beings do with their minds one day, because that capacity is being given us by the internet, and that can change everything in a lot of interesting ways. But we want to make certain that anybody who's got something to say can say it, and anybody who wants to listen can hear.
These are the thoughts of idealistic John Perry Barlow talking about the importance of freedom of access of information in the initial idea of the web 30 years ago. But when such freedom is manipulated, piracy takes a step into the scene. All these years the web has evolved and so the way we get information from it. In this documentary we will see different approaches and thoughts on illegal information downloads. The question we pose here is, being piracy illegal, is it actually wrong?
Where so you look at all the reports of how many kids just copy all their music for free. I don't know. I don't really agree with that. I was brought up with very strong ethics. You are who you say you are. You tell the truth. Truth is the number one ideal in my life, and so I don't like encouraging children to learn. Anytime you can get something for free, it's okay. I do not agree with that. I have never copied a piece of software, taken a piece of software illegally. Music, no. I won't touch that. Why don't you? You can afford something and stick within your means. That's what I believe in. And I have a lot of friends that are musicians. They are creators of the world. They're like writers. And how do you imagine a writer writing a book? How are they going to get paid if everyone copies it for free? Look at the royalties. So many of my musician friends, their royalties have just dropped and dropped and dropped. People are still getting their music more than ever before, but they're not paying.
So do you think some of the just in the difference of opinion or the kind of different attitude then that you can see about this idea of software or piracy or things that should be free or whether they should be paid for? Do you think, in a way, that's the first example of an argument that's still going on today?
Sure. Yeah. Well, when Bill Gates wrote his letter to the Homebrew Computer Club, upset that we were freely copying his basic that he'd spent all his time and energy working on, he was pointing out that a problem, which is the digital age unearthed the ability to copy things for no cost. I mean, there were times I remember times in like I was taught that communist Russia, they weren't allowed to have copy machines, and then all of a sudden we started trying to ban copying of anything over here. And it's just a problem. How do you solve it? In the long term, it's almost like huge forces of nature that you cannot turn back. Huge hurricanes of force. Eventually, it's going to be so easy to copy things that their value, their cost, what people will pay has got to go down. It just has to eventually. The laws are trying to hold it out. I notice that every court case to this day tends to side with copyright holders, and you cannot have for free.
And do you see some of that same argument, I guess, with like you talked about music and file sharing? Do you think that's something that's ever going to be resolved, or is that just going to keep playing out in the same way?
Now that it's so easy to buy a little card and put 500 movies on, one little card that you can plug into a camera if you want, it's very difficult. When one time in my office, a gentleman came in, on this whole copyright issue. A gentleman came in and I was talking about, my gosh, you could almost get to the point you could put a movie on a card. He said, oh, someday you'll have a card and you'll have 500 movies on it. And I thought, that changes life as we know it. It changes the rules. If I have a card that's bits, ones and zeros, and I give you those ones and zeros, the digital age says a song is no longer music. A song is a collection of a billion numbers. If I give you those billion numbers, you've got it. It's so easy. Our computer technology lets us copy everything instantly. No, it's very scary. It means a new world. A new world's ahead. And it may take decades. It may even take centuries before we actually get to the final ending point. Because, people are used to the old ways, and you always want to keep a little bit of the old. And the old is everything was too complicated for an individual person to make all the copies in the world of. You sell them a record and on vinyl, and they've got that one record. It only stays in one record. I mean, they could loan it to a friend and get it back, but it's pretty much, one record. Now, all of a sudden, you give out a song, and it could be 10,000, 100,000, a million copies, just distributed that instantly. The cost of production used to regulate this industry, some industries that are based on information, meaning everything like music, books, newspapers, and movies. All these industries are having severe problems today already, and it's just been, what has it been? Like a decade and a half.
Although being illegal, online piracy has led to improvements into file sharing technology that has bettered information distribution as a whole. Additionally, pirating communities tend to model market trends as well, as members of those communities tend to be adopters. Piracy can also lead to businesses developing new models that better account for the current market.
So if it's okay for people to download your stuff for free, you're losing money.
Yeah, correct. But at the same time, I can gain money in other areas, i.e. merchandise and touring, and it means that people that would never have been able to hear my music because they didn't have the money or the know-abouts of where to buy my album can still hear my music and still get involved in my project.
Now, that's you, individual entrepreneur, self-made man.
Mm-hmm.
But those people, like record companies,
Yeah.
who are losing the grip on this thing because of piracy, they're out there and they're suing people. They're trying to take down people like me or other people who would download music for free. What do you think about that heavy-handed approach?
No, I think it's definitely wrong. I think it's taking it a little bit too far. Because at the end of the day, the people that if you're going to download music, I think that you're going to download music. If you're going to pay for it, you're going to pay for it. And for example, if you go out to if you're online wire and you search a track that you like or any kind of illegal website, and it's not there, people aren't going to go run into the shops that very moment and really, really try and get their £10 together so you can buy the album. They're pretty much just going to wait for the track to become available online and still get it for free. And if you're going to buy it, you're going to buy it. But again, it's another thing is that it could maybe not even down to the people that download it for free, because the generation that are listening to music now are part of the whole internet generation, and therefore they don't know any better. Like, it's their norm. They haven't grown up. Their mums and dads haven't brought them into HMV to go around and buy CDs. So it's the norm. Like, everybody in their school class, everyone that they're with on a day-to-day basis, all download music, and that they just think that's the way. But I'm fine with that because it means that my music gets to more people, and therefore in the long run they'll hopefully end up buying my product in much more of a vast amount. And punishing people for liking your music only damages the relationship between the artist and the fans.
The government is creating such a hassle out of piracy that laws as the SOPA and the PIPA are attempting against the freedom of the web, fearing of censorship of the web.
But where the DMCA was surgical, we want to go down into your computer, we want to go down into your television set, down into your game machine, and prevent it from doing what they said it would do with the store. PIPA and SOPA are nuclear. They're saying we want to go anywhere in the world and censor content. Now, the mechanism, as I said, for doing this is you need to take out anybody pointing to those IP addresses. You need to take them out of search engines. You need to take them out of online directories. You need to take them out of user lists. And because the biggest producers of content on the internet are not Google and Yahoo, they're us. We're the people getting policed. Because in the end, the real threat to the enactment of PIPA and SOPA is our ability to share things with one another. So what PIPA and SOPA risk doing is taking a centuries-old legal concept, innocent until proven guilty, and reversing it. Guilty until proven innocent. You can't share until you show us that you're not sharing something we don't like. Suddenly, the burden of proof for legal versus illegal falls affirmatively on us and on the services that might be offering us any new capabilities. And if it costs even a dime to police a user, that will crush a service with 100 million users. So this is the internet they have in mind. Imagine this sign everywhere. Except imagine it doesn't say College Bakery. Imagine it says YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Imagine it says TED, because the comments can't be policed at any acceptable cost. the real effects of SOPA and PIPA are going to be different than the proposed effects. The threat, in fact, is this inversion of the burden of proof, where we suddenly are all treated like thieves at every moment we're given the freedom to create, to produce, or to share. And the people who provide those capabilities to us, the YouTubes and Facebooks, the Twitters and TEDs, are in the business of having to police us or being on the hook for contributory infringement. There's two things you can do to help stop this. A simple thing and a complicated thing, an easy thing and a hard thing. The simple thing, the easy thing is this. If you're an American citizen, call your representative, call your senator. Now, when you look at the people who've co-signed on the SOPA bill, people who've co-signed on PIPA, what you see is that they have cumulatively received millions and millions of dollars from the traditional media industries. You don't have millions and millions of dollars. But you can call your representatives, and you can remind them that you vote, and you can ask not to be treated like a thief, and you could suggest that you would prefer that the internet not be broken. And if you're not an American citizen, you can contact American citizens that you know and encourage them to do the same. Because this seems like a national issue, but it is not. These industries will not be content with breaking our internet. If they break it, they will break it for everybody. That's the easy thing. That's the simple thing. The hard thing is this. Get ready, because more is coming. SOPA is simply a reversion of COICA, which was proposed last year, which did not pass. And all of this goes back to the failure of the DMCA to disallow sharing as a technical means. And the DMCA goes back to the Audio Home Recording Act, which horrified those industries. Because the whole business of actually suggesting that someone is breaking the law and then gathering evidence and proving that, that turns out to be really inconvenient, right? We'd prefer not to do that, says the content industry. And what they want is not to have to do that. They don't want legal distinctions between legal and illegal sharing. They just want the more is coming. Because until we convince Congress that the way to deal with copyright violation is the way copyright violation was dealt with Napster, with YouTube, which is to have a trial with all the presentations of evidence and the hashing out of facts and the assessment of remedies that goes on in democratic societies. That's the way to handle this. In the meantime, the hard thing to do is to be ready, because that's the real message of PIPA and SOPA. Time Warner is called, and they want us all back on the couch, just consuming, not producing, not sharing, and we should say no.